Meanwhile, Felicity Huffman and Lori Logan they're in Boston for their first federal court appearance in the college admission scandal dubbed Operation Varsity Blues. The hearing underway for the actresses, who are among several parents accused of paying millions in bribes to guarantee their children acceptance into college. To face the maximum sentence here, possibly 20 years. That's if convicted on all counts. Joining me now, University of Wisconsin Associate Professor Duke Pesta. Professor, this has resonated across the consciousness of America for so many different reasons. The privilege of the elites, the high costs of college admission. So now your area, where you are, the college system, how do you see this? Do you see this as an example of the elites getting everything they want at the expense of others?
It is true that that's a big part of this, but to me, the real big conclusion here is how hypocritical our universities are. Left-wing professors, left-wing administrators lecturing us about socialist values, tearing apart our free market values, indoctrinating our kids in all this social justice, foisting white privilege and wealth privilege on us. And yet, when you look at them, they are as much driven by money than the biggest corporation is. That all this social justice they preach, the bottom line for them is not about equity, it's not about justice, it's about lining their coffers, and they're exploiting justice issues to get richer and richer, and there is no outside oversight. That's the big takeaway for me.
Professor Duke, excuse me 1 second while I go get my pom-poms. I'll be right back. Hey, great way to start the show. But here's the thing, though. I agree with everything that you said, and yet the last part was the most important. $1.5 trillion in student loans. A lot of it ultimately could be backed by the government. There are forgiveness programs already out there. And you wonder, should there be oversight? And if there was, how would it look?
Well, first of all, I'd get the federal government out of the student loan process. I mean, the government indiscriminately gives money to people whether they're serious or not, whether they're majoring in serious subjects or not. Go back to the system before that, where you had bankers who were trying to determine, you want $100,000 and you're going to major in women's studies, we're not going to give that to you. I mean, this idea that everybody has to get the same amount of money is absurd. And in terms of oversight, one of the things I would do is I would make the universities have some skin in the game. So if you give loans to kids who don't graduate, then the university is on the hook for paying 50% of that money back. You've got to make the universities account for the fact that many of them, the Ivies, are sitting on billion-dollar endowments of untaxable money while taking more and more money from the federal government. Every dollar you spend of federal money, you ought to match with your endowment money. These are ways that we could hold them accountable financially for the devastation they're wreaking in terms of real justice in this country.
Right. Hey, we got less than a minute. Real quick, also some ideas out there that maybe the people would pay part of their salary, and once they graduated, a small part, nothing that's too crippling, but it would be good enough for them to have the typical movement in life, household formation, upward mobility, not get stuck in these rent traps, and also the colleges would be repaid as well. Is that an idea worth pursuing?
Absolutely it is. It also gives a little skin in the game to the students as well, and a motivation to, if you're going to get yourself on the hook this way, that you have to pick careers that are going to benefit the public. And the other thing I would say, too, before we sign off, is stop hiring 8,000 diversity officers, 8,000 social justice monitors, and save those huge salaries on college campuses so you could lower tuition. The inflated nature of our colleges and universities should be addressed as well. Kids shouldn't have to take out these kind of loans for those kinds of education.
Professor Duke Pesta, you're a breath of fresh air. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.